Hey everybody, welcome back to another rousing lore episode of Shadowrunnin on Empty. We're going to we're going to take it a little closer to home this episode, I think. I know it's probably been a long time coming and maybe you've been waiting for it, but we're finally going to start talking about the costs. And I know there is at least one of our participants that's super excited about this.
Woo!
Tyler, how excited are you about this?
10 on 10.
10 on 10 on 10s.
Wait, how many states are in the cost? Oh, got that trivia for you.
Wow, good question right out of the gate. The way that it's separated. Let me look at my good old handy dandy
13
map.
out of 13.
13 out of 13.
Would rise again.
Let's see. There's Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Florida, Georgia, Mississippi, Alabama, Arkansas, New Orleans, Oklahoma, Texas, and I think a little bit of New Mexico. There you go.
Hell yeah, brother.
Hail yeah. But that isn't the only person that is here with us this evening. As always, we also have our other participant, Austin. Austin, how are you doing this evening?
I am normal amounts of excited to talk about the cost this evening.
Which is to say, mountains of excitement.
I don't know. It sounded pretty normal excitement.
No, that can't be it.
Definitely no.
I am moderately stoked to be here this evening. Thank you for having me. Why aren't you blinking? We'll see these damned reptile eyes. I mean, human eyes, normal human person eyes.
Human eyes. Normal human eyes.
Just get so dry.
Just use the drops like they told you.
Don't lick. Don't lick.
Don't lick.
Your first instinct is going to be lick your eyes. It's really weird to them.
Everybody will know.
Everybody will know.
Humans can't lick their own eyes. It's a fact.
It's a fucking fact.
I just think they haven't tried hard enough. Personally, I think we're as a species, we're on the cusp.
We're there eventually. You guys look forward to your own eye licking.
Man, I love that sentence. Look forward to your, hey kids.
Let me rap with you for a second.
Let me rap with
your
you.
Own eye licking.
Tyler flipped his chair around backwards.
Yeah.
We have to give him our attention now.
Let me tell you something.
He speaks to us.
Have you ever felt like you have dry eyes while also having a really wet tongue? Boy, howdy, I have good news for you.
Firstly, you're not alone. Secondly,
if you've gotten this far, it means you've fooled all of humanity. Good job.
Welcome.
Soon our reptile brother will rise up and we'll make eye licking normal.
Normal to everyone else. It's always been normal.
Yes, but we'll get the humans to accept it as normal, and then we'll not have such difficulty hiding.
I love how this is how we segue into talking about Atlanta as lizard people.
It's lizard people. Well, I mean, it's best to start with Atlanta because Atlanta is the capital of the Confederated American States.
You can't see it, but I'm saluting and I haven't stopped saluting. And no one can confirm that. Deny it.
So the Atlanta sprawl has no real boundaries, but is part of the urban spill stretching down the east coast of the North American continent. The region known as Atlanta begins roughly south of the Appalachian Mountains, east of Birmingham, and north of the southern Georgia wastelands. It's a pretty big area.
Only fitting for the South.
Atlanta is the seat of government for the Confederated American States, the state of Georgia, and the city of Atlanta. It is also home base for several top 500 international megacorporations in the fields of communications, computers, insurance, banking, textiles, and soft drinks.
My God. Wait, what?
Yeah, yes, I said,
Why soft drinks?
I couldn't tell you for sure, but apparently soft drinks.
Because Atlanta's where the Coca-Cola headquarters is based out of.
Oh, they couldn't
Mm.
say that in the.
Yeah, legally distinct. Legally distinct.
Well, yeah, legally distinct. Legally distinct.
Yes, yes. My
It's where the cola headquarters are.
Coca-Cola, my favorite refreshing soft drink brand.
No. We have to talk about the human one, not the amphibian ones. We got...
Oh, Cola brand cola, my favorite refreshing summertime soft drink.
My favorite human beverage.
Yeah, it's right up there with beer. Beer is my favorite brand of beer for sure. But
Yum.
Cola is pretty good, man.
Well, we'll start how we usually start when we are talking about the different districts in the sprawl of the Metroplex for Seattle. The population for Atlanta is over 6 million. 68% of that is human. The next highest demographic is orc at 23%. Not bad at all, right? The government of Atlanta is headed by a democratically elected mayor and a city council who serve 4-year terms. Look at that. They've already got term limits.
You'd love to see it.
You'll love to see it. The current mayor is Drew Anderson, elected to his first term in 2048. The government of Atlanta, unlike that of most other sprawls, prefers to handle many of its civic responsibilities itself rather than contract out to corporations. Atlanta has its own police, sanitation, and transportation departments.
Okay. I mean, so far this is all just sounding like Atlanta.
Right?
Like it sounds like you're just describing Atlanta. So yeah, this is all checking out. Yeah. Well, I do. Okay. I mean, I will give them. I think it's interesting that they do have their own police department and don't just use Lone Star, considering that Lone Star is based out of the COS.
Right.
So that is actually interesting.
The Atlanta sprawl is also the capital of the Confederated American States, like we've mentioned, and the COS government is based out of a huge complex of buildings and facilities called Free Park, located in the eastern portion of the sprawl around the Stone Mountain Monument.
I couldn't get over thinking, welcome to Free Park.
Welcome to Free Park.
There's like a ghoul in the corner and like a bunch of crackheads next to a public toilet.
They do move in herds, and it's just like a herd of feral ghouls running across the plain.
So we did mention the law enforcement and how they have their own. So just as there are several levels of government in Atlanta, so too are there several levels of law enforcement. The COS controls Dobbins Air Force Base located inside the sprawl, and the Fort Bennings Infantry Base just south of Atlanta. In case of a city emergency or catastrophe, COS troops could respond quickly. Additionally, the state of Georgia maintains a state guard made up of volunteers who gather for training 3 times a year. The state guard is little more than a formality these days, however. They are poorly trained, poorly coordinated, and lack any real military hardware. In the event of a riot or similar occurrence, it would be largely up to the COS troops to keep law and order. Day-to-day law enforcement in the Atlanta sprawl is handled by the city police department and the mega corporations. Atlanta's megacorps maintain sizable private armies of security personnel because the city government leaves so much law enforcement up to them. Any crime committed on corporate-owned grounds falls within the jurisdiction of that corp's security team. Corporate security arrests the perpetrator and turns him over to the city police for prosecution. Over the past decade, corporate jurisdiction has expanded to encompass the residential areas of their employees and whole suburbs. The enforcement in these corporate sections varies widely, but is usually much safer than city patrolled areas.
I really want to see a campaign that somebody would do where you play as Corpo Security, and I really want somebody to just make like a Judge Dredd character, but in regards to like upholding corp justice. Like,
I am the corporate law.
dude,
Oh, God, what a nightmare.
that feels like it would be fun and ironic in some strange ways as well, but pretty fun.
Definitely fun. So the city police force for Atlanta is referred to as the APF, the Atlanta Police Force. The city police force maintains several forts throughout the sprawl and patrol the city with electric cars and helicopters. The APF is an enormous organization with branches for everything from homicide and computer theft to those for paranormal animals and astral invasion. The APF is considered seriously corrupt despite the force's strong internal affairs division. But that makes sense. When you're that large, you've got internal corruption.
Yeah, that's a lot of area jurisdiction to cover.
Right?
And especially when you carry it over into the anything that happens on Corpo land is Corpo crimes.
Very, what is that called? The like, if it's on your property, self-defense thing.
Stand your
Stand your
ground.
ground.
Yeah.
Yes, all corpse in the cost fall under the jurisdiction of stand your ground laws.
I mean, essentially.
Dude, I'm down with it. That's hilarious.
Well, since we've talked about law enforcement, it's only fair that we delve into crime.
Of which there's none. On to the next one.
Crime, none. All right, moving along.
Nothing to see here. Nothing to see here.
Though Atlanta projects the image of a model city, its streets are just as dirty and its shadows just as dark as the other sprawls. Most of Atlanta's poor and homeless live in the South Town district, which is also the source of most of Atlanta's organized illegal activities. Sulphur rings have become the dominant form of organized crime, driving the Yakuza out of the extortion, gambling, and BTL chip rackets. The Sulphur rings control large sections of the city, with territorial wars between rings becoming commonplace. The Yakuza presence in Atlanta is mainly expressed through the sprawl's thriving black market, which they still control. Unlike the Sulphur rings, the Yakuza have no territorial claims, being a more nebulous entity bonded by black market connections and individual loyalties. Relations between the Yakuza and the Sulphur rings have improved slightly. The rings find it necessary to acquire hardware through the black market, and the Yakuza recognize good business when they see it. Youth gangs in Atlanta tend to be small and not particularly powerful. Sulphur rings usually recruit among older gang members, which keeps the average age of gang members low.
Not the youths.
Well, they only recruit from the older youths.
You older youths.
Oh, the older young kids. Oh, okay. Well, as long as it's the older young kids, then I guess that's fine.
You age out into a sulphur ring. And if you remember when we talked about sulphur rings, yeah, that's rough.
Yeah, that's rough, buddy.
Also, gang activities are largely controlled by the ring, whose territory includes the gang's turf. Gangs are often little more than pawns for the Sulphur Rings extortion and BTL pushing rackets. Pressure from the Sulphur Rings have made go gangs increasingly popular among the disillusioned youth of Atlanta. These gangs are not tied to one ring's territory, which means they can often get away with more without extracting the ire of any one ring. Go gang members tend to be much tougher and older than the turf gangers.
I like to imagine that the turf gangers are it's like the Warriors.
Warriors!
Just a bunch of different youth gangs that all have different themes going on.
Would you like some of the slang words that are common in the Atlanta sprawl?
Always. I want to communicate with the youths as the youths would do.
There's the tower or dark tower. It is the Cord Mutual Insurance skyscraper.
Sorry, mutual what now?
Mutual Insurance skyscraper called the tower or dark tower.
I thought the Dark Tower was the thing that connected all the Stephen King universes together.
Nope, apparently it's an insurance company.
Dang it, that's way less exciting.
What a Stephen King-esque twist that would be.
There's domers, people who live around the Fulton County Stadium, called domers.
I'm assuming because the stadium probably looks like a dome.
As like a dome, yes.
Yeah.
Fulton's, a street slang for the APF, stems from Fulton County Police before the city's consolidation. Killing Ground refers to the old Fulton County Stadium. Stay away from it.
Just don't go.
Apparently, it's a murder field.
Dang it, I hate when there's a murder field in the way.
It's where all the youth gangs do fight dancing at each other after school.
You just hear fingers snapping like miles away.
When you're a jet. Mad Castle is any of the APF fort stations throughout the sprawl, particularly any of the ones near Southtown. The Park or the Rock, short for Free Park, the Cost Government Complex. The Rock refers to Stone Mountain. Thrill Cave, any of the underground night spots, especially one whose entrance is secret or restricted. Can't hang out tonight, guys. I'm going to the Thrill Cave.
That's what we're calling it nowadays.
That's what the youths refer to it as, yes.
Disgusting.
Whiners. Whiners refer to electric patrol cars of the APF, so called for the high-pitched whine they emit at high speeds because they're electric cars.
I assume that it was the kids that were too nerdy to get into the youths gangs. Just let me in.
Let me join your gang. Please, I'm really cool. I just want to be popular.
I have a reason as to why the Cord Mutual Insurance Tower is referred to the Dark Tower or the Tower. Are you ready?
Uh-huh.
It is a 500-story office building.
Cool.
Neat.
That's why it's 500 stories.
That's a big fucking tower.
That's a really big tower.
That's a really big tower.
But like, does your tower need to be that high, really?
Well, I mean, obviously the insurance company is compensating for something, but
Not in the cost, baby.
Not in the cost. Not in the cost.
yeah, with the giant belt buckles. And how many gallons are your hats, Tyler?
20 gallons of freedom.
20 gallons.
10 for the corp and 10 for me.
So how did this all come about?
People really like Coca-Cola, even in this dystopian future of Cola-Cola. People
Cola-Cola,
really like
yes.
Cola-Cola.
Well, let's take ourselves back to the early 21st century. Back to the Summer Olympics of '96. Showcased Atlanta to the world community as a prosperous city, growing fast and strong as Americans moved south to work in warmer climates. Then, at the turn of the century, the city experienced a large influx of domestic and foreign businesses because the tax structure and climate made both life and doing business more pleasant. This influx included several Japanese corporations relocating their North American headquarters. All through the early decades of the 21st century, Atlanta continued to grow at an alarming rate. Gradually, the city lost the battle against overcrowding and the resulting lack of transportation and educational facilities. As taxes rose to alleviate these problems, the corporations no longer found the incentive to relocate. The effect of these early decades still exists in the overcrowding in the northern suburbs and a lingering animosity towards the Japanese and other representatives of foreign corporations. Several poly clubs based on warped ideals of national and racial purity still exist in Atlanta. Soon comes secession. Revolution was in the air throughout the start of the century, with the Aztlan forming and the United States of America fragmenting. Everywhere, society was breaking down into smaller and smaller units of government. The secession of 10 states from the UCOS marked the beginning of rapid historical changes for the city of Atlanta. During the restructuring of government following secession, the city of Atlanta government annexed large portions of the sprawl, causing several county governments to dissolve and some public agencies to consolidate. The Fulton County Police Department, which had served most of Atlanta, was combined with police forces of the annexed regions and renamed the Atlanta Police Force. The city government then divided Atlanta into several districts, each electing councilmen to the city's legislative body. This annexation was the beginning of the tension that has developed between state and city governments.
Oh no, not the Great Tension.
The Great Tension. Next comes the Insurance War. I know. Threatening. So threatening.
That's why their tower is so big. They had a whole war, dude.
Dude, like that is one of the most Shadowrun things to hear is the insurance war.
Dude, I didn't even question it.
Right?
You said the words "the insurance war," and I went, "Yeah, naturally. Yeah, of course they did."
Militarized bureaucracy.
That's how I can tell you guys are just getting more acquainted with Shadowrun. I can drop a sentence like that and you, oh yeah, no, that's 100%.
That's a normal thing to say.
Nothing surprises me in the sixth world anymore. I think it's impossible.
Well, the insurance war is one of the darkest times in Atlanta's history.
Of course it was. How many people died during the insurance war? Easy. I want numbers.
We'll get there. There's going to be lots of numbers. It's the insurance war.
Oh my god. The paperwork was insane.
Paper cuts abound.
My god.
This war takes place in the year of 2035. The war was between Cord Mutual Insurance and North American Eagle Life Insurance. The stake was the coveted insurance contract for all employees of the new cost government. Cord Mutual had just completed construction of their impressive, not skyscraper anymore, sky raker, because it's 500 stories, and had relocated their home offices to the new Atlanta building.
I prefer the term sky just the tipper.
we just want to get a little bit into the sky, just a little.
Yeah, dude, we're poking. Hey, we're just seeing what's going on, you know?
How's it going, guys?
Eventually, space.
Spice.
Thank you.
Oh, sorry, you just reminded me. I need to send you a picture of my shirt that I just bought. I have a space shirt now.
Oh my god. Y'all, if listeners don't know, look up Tim Curry's space. Your life will be forever better because of it.
That's all you need to know. It'll explain so much because I'm pretty sure that it's just Elon Musk's plan at this point.
Yeah.
So he just has to go to the last place uncorrupted by capitalism.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, North American Eagle had a long-standing tradition of reliable service in Atlanta, which made them the candidate favored for the governmental contract. The clandestine war of terrorism between the companies is thought to have started on June 8th of 2035 with the simultaneous explosion of 6 Geas jets in flight from their Atlanta departure point. Geas Airline was insured by North American Eagle, which paid out enormous sums both for the jets and for civil suits by relatives of slain passengers. No connection with Cord Mutual was made at that time. What followed was a sweep of assassinations of vid stars and entertainment personalities across the continent, and especially in Atlanta. The only connection between the victims was they all held large policies with North American Eagle, which was beginning to have difficulty paying off its policies. At some point, it is thought that North American Eagle's corporate investigators made a connection between a suspected assassin and Cord Mutual. Not much is known except that North American Eagle began funding a terrorist organization known as the Medusa Sisterhood to retaliate against Cord Mutual.
Have we heard about this sisterhood?
Let me see if I have anything.
This war between insurance companies has got so many layers.
So many
There's
players.
so many people involved in this. And it's an insurance company. Dude,
The
man,
insurance wars were brutal.
I told you.
so many lives were lost that day. They had to build a 500-floor skyscraper to write all the names down in memoriam.
No, they're the ones that are causing these deaths.
Oh, I know.
They can get the government insurance contract.
Yeah. No, I get it, man.
Dude, same.
Bruh.
I do the same thing.
It's so funny. It's so ridiculous.
It's another one of those like, yep, that definitely happened, and that's a normal thing to say.
Yeah, could you imagine being a Shadowrun team that you're contracted out to blow up airlines or take assassination jobs on celebrities, and you're not really sure why, you're just paid to do it, and it's all this shadow organization to take over an insurance firm.
Bro, just remember the only rule: no Russian.
Oh God,
Yeah,
the golden rule.
So I don't have much on the Medusa Sisterhood. The Medusa Sisterhood made a series of vandalous attacks on Cord Mutual insured corporations and individuals. Cord Mutual responded with attacks on the Sisterhood as well as on more North American Eagle targets. What began as a clandestine corporate power struggle becomes a bloody war, claiming the lives of hundreds of insured. The media finally broke the story, acting on rumors of the two corporations' involvement, quote unquote, in the rash of violence sweeping the sprawl. The coverage caused the Cost government and the City of Atlanta government to come down hard on both corporations ending the war. In the aftermath, Cord Mutual was able to provide evidence of North American Eagle's funding of the Medusa Sisterhood, while no official connection was made between Cord Mutual and the independent operatives they used as soldiers in the insurance war. North American Eagle was assessed fines and several top officials were arrested. Cord Mutual won the cost insurance contract despite a storm of controversy. Yeah.
But like, why though? You know?
Hey, they wanted that contract real
Government
bad.
money, brother.
Apparently, Cord did it right, contracting through Shadowrunners that are deniable assets, whereas North American Eagle went for a terrorist organization.
Oh, crazy. The terrorist organization didn't work? That's wild.
I'm not telling you how to run your insurance company, okay? Oh boy. In 2043, we go to current trends, or the most current. In 2043, construction of Free Park was completed and the turbulent governmental transition came to an end. The tension between city and state only increased, however. If the two do not merge at some point, the state of Georgia will probably be ripped apart, only to be further gobbled up by Atlanta. No longer is it the state of Georgia, it is just the Atlanta sprawl. In the aftermath of the insurance war, corporations were given greater leeway to protect their own holdings because the APF had proved unable to protect the corp's larger corporations. So this just gives corporations in the sprawl more freedom to police themselves, especially going into the 2050s, with the Cost government making no apparent effort to curb the trend of allowing the corporations to police themselves. How about that? Now we get into the fun part of actually talking about the different neighborhoods of the Atlanta sprawl. You've got downtown, the heart of the Atlanta sprawl is the downtown district. It is an area filled with blocks of skyscrapers rising into the sky and casting their shadows on the city streets far below. The sky is filled with buzzing commuter aircraft and video ad blimps shouting sales slogans. Once you leave the main highways, the streets are packed with traffic and the sidewalks are crowded with pedestrians. Towering above all the downtown buildings is the Cord Mutual Insurance Skyraker. The 500-story building vaults into the clouds like a great ebony pillar of metal and polymers. It is a tribute to modern civil engineering, though the top 25 stories are closed now because of structural instability. The first 97 floors are occupied by Cord Mutual employees. The rest of the lower floors are leased to other corporations who use the space predominantly as Atlanta regional offices. Building security is very tight, with guards posted at every turbo lift. Tourists are normally allowed only on the 378th floor, though Cord Mutual will occasionally let VIPs and employee guests visit the 470th floor.
I mean, that's close enough, right?
I guess.
Do you want to go all the way up to 500 easy?
Why do I need to?
So that way you can look down and witness the curvature of the earth for yourself and bask in the glory of capitalism.
I guess. The only other top 500 international corporation that makes its home in downtown Atlanta is the Hisato Turner Broadcasting. This entertainment conglomerate controls the cable network for the Atlanta sprawl and the entire Southeast.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that that's still true.
I mean, even currently.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I'm pretty sure that Turner is based out of It's based out of Atlanta.
Besides their area subscribers who receive the network through standard fiber optic link, HTB broadcasts its signal to its orbital space platform, which distributes the programming around the world through satellite relays. The HTB broadcasting antenna is the second tallest structure in the sprawl, next to the Cord building. HTB maintains a 180-story office building next to its antenna,
That is pretty impressive.
right?
When you said that it sent it up to the orbital platform, I thought you were going to tell me that like it was like a space colony. And I was like, huh, interesting. All right.
Space Turner.
Well, my next question was going to be, is that considered the final form of satellite television at that point? Or...
No, I'm sure it evolves even more.
But if you're living on the satellite, easy. I mean, come on, man. It doesn't get very much more than that.
No downtime. That signal is never blocked.
Yeah, facts.
The state capitol building is located at the south edge of the downtown district. This building is famous for its gold-covered dome and historic architecture. Next to the capitol building is the main APF fort, which services both the downtown and the Southtown districts. The regular APF patrols from this fort are perhaps the only thing that keeps Southtown inhabitants from bringing their crime and squalor into downtown.
Not the squalor.
How dare they? Also situated in this cluster of public buildings is the Atlanta Intercity Air Control Tower. This city-sponsored control tower attempts to direct commercial air traffic over the city with some success. Most accidents occur in foul weather and involve aircraft lacking modern short-scan radar imaging. That's right, upgrade your vehicles that fly in the sky with short scan. The Georgia Institute of Technology, also located in downtown, is one of the leading engineering universities in North America. In addition to turning out some of the world's most qualified technical personnel, its bachelor's degree in hermetic magic, also one of the top 10 in North America.
Gotta love the Git.
Though Georgia Tech is a state-sponsored school, most of the university's funding comes from corporate research grants. And most of the students attend on corporate scholarships. These students are already indentured to the megacorp, which is providing them with training. Yeah, you never think about that in the sixth world. Your scholarship now, if it's corporate funded, you basically are owned by the corp.
Do you know where you're getting placed after you graduate out of college?
I mean, anymore if you want a higher ed education learning at a university, you have to pay through the nose for it. Georgia Tech also offers continuing education courses to keep older engineers up to date with the rapidly changing technical world. The other places of interest for the downtown district of Atlanta include the Omni Plaza, owned by Hisato Turner Broadcasting. This combination of convention center, hotel, and entertainment arena takes up several city blocks. The Atlanta Hawks play basketball in the Omni, and the Butchers brawl here.
Is that the Urban Combat?
Yeah, Butchers. The Butchers are the Urban Brawl team. Apparently, the Omni Plaza is large enough to hold Urban Brawl.
Arena Urban Brawl, the best version.
We talked about this.
I stand by that sentiment.
Hey, you made your case. I remember. The downtown area also offers Atlanta's best in the arts. The ancient Fox Theater is still Atlanta's equivalent of New York Times Square for live performances. And the ever-expanding High Museum of Art offers fine collections of paintings and sculptures. And then finally, for downtown, Atlanta's largest park, Piedmont Park, is in the downtown area. The park contains a small botanical garden and a man-made lake.
Yay for man-made lakes.
Yay!
We have one and they're pretty cool.
The next district that we'll cover for Atlanta is Buckhead. I did say Buckhead. You heard me. Buckhead. If you're hip, cool, stylish, or just plain rich,
Yep. Yep, you heard him.
Buckhead is the place to be in Atlanta. This section of the downtown district offers every imaginable luxury and expensive vice. The elegant galleries and department stores are busy all day, and the night spots draw huge crowds every night. Along with the nightclubs and retail showrooms that make Buckhead famous, there are several neighborhoods filled with expensive condominium buildings. Many corp executives live in company owned condominiums in Buckhead during the work week and then go home to suburbia on weekends. This saves them the hassle of commuting and lets them work longer hours every day.
Yay!
Other residents of Buckhead's condominiums include the rich, young, and healthy who inherited their money or earned it through illegal means. These residents are the staple patrons of Buckhead's nightclubs and entertainment spots. The retail stores in Buckhead are clustered in large shopping malls, both above and below ground. Notably, these include the rustic Lenox Phillips Gallery Mall and the more modern Future Plaza. Really thought about that name.
Well, technically, it's always the future.
I guess. Several Buckhead malls, such as Future Plaza, are located partially or completely underground. Following a trend that began almost a century ago, these underground shopping malls and the subterranean nightclubs are now a trademark of the Atlanta sprawl. No matter what the fad, cult, or trend, there's bound to be a Buckhead night spot to match it. These run the gamut from heavy rockers to restricted races to business privacy. Approximately 10 large clubs dominate the Buckhead scene, constantly changing their names and images to match current trends in music and style. The owners never change. There, of course, are dozens of underground clubs. Some are large and open to the public, and some are accessible only via secret passwords and entrances known as thrill caves. Return. These spots cater to an elite clientele of regular customers and often the utmost privacy. Becoming an accepted member of a thrill cave crowd is a hard-won honor. Thrill caves come in 3 varieties. Are you ready?
Uh-huh.
Most of them are little more than meeting places for illegal connections or radical poly clubs. Some are dance clubs that restrict their clientele to certain metahuman races or to individuals who have a taste for BTL chipping or porn. A few are simply SimSense arcades combined with bars. These arcades are gambling dens where the arcade players become something like professional athletes or racehorse jockeys. These arcade aces have their own code of ethics and ranking system, which does not welcome outsiders to play until they earn the right to. You got to be up and up on your gambling in your SimSense.
You gotta know a guy, man.
SimSense gambling. Oof. I don't know if I could handle that. You place the bets and then you are the jockey.
You're not really playing Russian roulette easy. Everything just tells you that you're really playing Russian roulette. Just have fun with it, man.
until someone accidentally I use accidentally in air quotes here takes off the safety procedures for the BTL and cranks it all the way up to 11.
What in an illegal underground betting ring? I don't think that would happen.
Oh yes, we use the gentleman's code down here.
Yeah, that doesn't sound very sporting to me, Easy.
Sporting. Speaking of, there's always the other sport that could be taking place in these SimSense areas of hunting the most dangerous game.
Man?
Yes, I mean human. Yes, that's right. wait a minute.
Tyler, yay.
As lizard people, we yay. But it's weird that there are all these really elegant places and everything in this slice of downtown called Buckhead, and that it's technically a double A rated neighborhood for security.
I mean, the safest place that you want from the outside is the place where you're committing all the crime, because then people aren't going to look into it.
I guess. It makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Next, we go to Decatur.
And if anybody has an issue with you, like you said, they take those safety restrictions off the Beetle, and they don't got to deal with it anymore.
Bada bing, bada boom.
Yeah,
Little Jimmy. He passed out.
takes care of itself sometimes.
Just drop him in the thrill cave. Heading off to Decatur. Decatur is the district encompassing most of the eastern Atlanta sprawl. Within its boundaries are the Cost government headquarters, along with entire suburbs of housing for government employees. Decatur also includes the Emory University campus and the new Galaxy Dome Sports Coliseum. This is also where Free Park is.
How do you spell the name of the city?
Decatur. Decatur. Am I saying that right? Decatur?
I believe it's Decatur.
Is it Decatur? Decatur?
Decatur.
Decatur.
That's if it was in Louisiana. That's too French for Georgia. If
That's
we were in
true.
Louisiana.
That's true.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Decatur.
Okay. I'm sorry to all of our southern people.
For only this one instance.
Only this one instance. We'll see We'll see about that. So Free Park is also here, and it is the main attraction. It was once a recreational park surrounding the Stone Mountain Monument, the largest rock in the world with the largest carving etched onto it. Perhaps this carving, which depicts several great Confederate generals from the American Civil War, was the reason for selecting the park as the site of the new Cost government headquarters. Free Park is one of the most beautiful spots in Atlanta, with well-kept grounds that include woods and a small, clear lake. The huge Cost government buildings and new access roads dominate the area, but the scenic beauty remains. How nice they incorporated the government buildings into the landscape. Most of the sprawl of this section of the sprawl consists of residential housing subdivisions for government employees, most of them modular clone housing projects for lower middle income government workers. The neighborhoods where legislators and bureaucrats higher on the totem pole reside show a grander old South plantation style. Emory University, founded in 1836, is on the western edge of the district. Emory has a long-standing reputation of fine education, and they have managed to keep pace with the rapidly changing world. Emory excels in business, law, and medicine, with a decline in liberal arts because corporate sponsorships now play such a major role in higher education. Bye, liberal arts. Sorry. All right, Foghorn. I say, you need to learn law and medicine, boy. As a compliment to a medical degree, Emory was recently begun to offer a 2-year certificate in medicinal magic, and they also offer a minor in shamanic magic studies.
Normally you need a prescription for medicinal magic.
Bully. The final attraction is the recently completed Galaxy Dome, the largest sports arena in the Southeast and one of the few featuring Trideo magnification of the playing field. The Falcons play football here in the fall, and the Rebels will take to the arena for combat bike events in the spring. Trideo projected as well, so you don't just have the flat screens that you would see at your normal football stadiums now. Now it's a Trideo overlay. That's crazy.
I like to imagine that they would implement that for like the nosebleed section.
That's what I was thinking too.
Yeah, so like once you get to the upper levels, it's the Trideo displays like the main that you would look out onto instead of looking at the screen to see everything.
Yeah, that way you still feel like you're in the action,
Yeah. Hey, listen, I would love to go to a Trideo shown professional wrestling event, let me tell you.
Oh, that would be crazy.
We could get all of those ridiculous entrance animation graphics that WWE does, but in the stadium. Giant Becky Lynch is coming for you, Tyler. She can't be stopped.
Jeez. I thought you were gonna make some topical reference to CM Punk being back.
Oh, I mean, yeah, there's
Well, that's
it
true.
would be a projected sheet of real glass that he would walk through on his way out to the arena. Yeah.
It was real projected glass, you guys. Now we get to Douglasville. The Douglasville district includes most of the western portion of the sprawl and stretches westward some distance along I-20. The annexation of this large western area was a major point of contention between state and city government during the restructuring of Atlanta. Douglasville is largely a residential area with a fair amount of industry. For instance, the Coca-Cola Company
Yes. Uh-huh.
is the only top 500 international corporation that makes its home in Douglasville. The company recently relocated its home offices from the downtown district to a new complex in Douglasville. Coca-Cola also operates an immense, completely automated production facility in Douglasville. Most Coca-Cola employees are either technicians who maintain and upgrade the machinery, or else they are drivers who distribute the product to stores across the sprawl and to the area's more than 100,000 dispensing machines. The residential areas in Douglasville are typical of suburbia. Wage slaves commute to work by electric car if they can afford it. For entertainment, Douglasville has some tame nightclubs as well as the usual SimSense Trid theaters. It's just down home old America. On the westernmost edge of Douglasville, hovering on the edge of the sprawl, are whole zones filled with homeless people taking refuge where they can. These shanty towns are often nothing more than rows of crates and husks of abandoned automobiles. Some of the inhabitants are permanent fixtures, scrounging among the city's refuse to stay alive. Others are nomadic families who ride the lonely highways of the continent, stopping here and there in gypsy fashion. Some say that these wandering families are key Yakuza instruments for smuggling black market goods into Atlanta. That could explain why some of these groups are usually so well armed and potentially dangerous. There's also an abandoned fun park along I-20.
Oh no.
Not much is left, but the kids can still go there to have a good time.
How many youth gangs operate out of the abandoned fun park?
Maybe 2.
Okay.
They've stolen power and juiced up some of the old rides.
Nice.
Oh, in the downtown area?
Yeah, in the downtown. When we made the joke about West Side Story.
Yeah. Oh, the killing.
Oh, the killing. The killing fields? No, no.
It's killing ground. The
Killing ground.
Yes.
Youth war? Inter youth war?
Probably.
Yeah, who else are they gonna snap at all day, Tyler?
Right. That fun park on I-20 is also becoming a big hangout for the BTL pushers and gangs.
In my brain, you said BTL. It registered as BTS. And I was like going to all of those youth gangs trying to be like, hey kids, you ever heard of K-pop? I got this light up wand here. First one's free. The next one's gonna cast you.
Wow. Next on our Atlanta sprawl stop, we have Marietta. Once a suburb that grew up around I-75, the city of Marietta came to encompass the entire northwest section of the sprawl after Atlanta annexed other portions of the state. Most of the Japanese corporations that came to Atlanta at the turn of the century are located in Marietta. It also has heavily populated residential areas dominated by the influence of many Japanese immigrants who followed the corpse. Whole sections of Marietta are predominantly Japanese in culture, language, and food.
So the food is good, is what I'm hearing.
That's what I hear. Almost all the Japanese industries and office complexes in Marietta are regional branches of mother corporations based in Japan. The manufacturing industries include automotives, entertainment electronics, and electronic media production. And most of the service organizations are engineered based. Several of the manufacturing plants have their own corporate sectors and maintain their tight security. Housing in Marietta comes in two basic forms. Anglo residents prefer house style dwellings, which are more expensive, while the Japanese population seems to prefer high rise condominium structures, similar to housing projects in Tokyo. And the housing corporations are building more and more of these condominiums as the cost of real estate continues to rise. The result is that the high rises are squeezing out the residential suburbs. Combine that with the difference the two groups pay in property taxes, and tensions between ethnic groups has built to a critical point.
Yeah, never lived in the middle of that happening currently around me before. That's crazy. Couldn't be me.
No, what are you talking about? Nothing at all is going to go wrong there. Nothing at all. That gives us room to move on to our next location in the Atlanta sprawl, Norcross. Norcross and Marietta are sister districts. Like Marietta, Norcross experienced a huge influx of people at the turn of the century. The difference is that Norcross became overcrowded much sooner, and most of the Japanese bypassed the area. In general, housing in Norcross is much older, and the standard of living is a little lower than in Marietta. The only corporation of note in the area is the Global Business Computers. The GBC is known for its pioneering work in high temperature semiconductors and its manufacture of custom supercomputers. The city of Atlanta's desire to annex a major portion of the North Georgia mountains into the Norcross district has become a serious point of contention between Mayor Anderson and Governor Prester. The foothills of these mountains are dotted with the homes of some of Georgia's wealthiest families and corporate elite who commute to work by air. God, that must be nice. Gotta go to work. Oh, there's my helicopter.
I mean, I would imagine that when you're at that point, they let you into like the secret like Uber for helicopters, right? Like you have to have like a certain amount of wealth, and then they're like, you just call this guy.
Yeah.
He'll hook you up.
Well, several of the residents in that area of the foothills, their dwellings may more aptly be called palaces. So elaborate are their accoutrements, grounds, and armies of security. The reason Atlanta wants to annex these regions is for the property taxes it could collect from these multi-million new yen residences.
Yeah, that checks out.
The residences oppose the annexation and resulting tax increase, while Governor Prester is against the city taking over the entire northeastern corner of the state. Who knows who will win for the annexing of that area?
I go with the state.
I don't know. The Atlanta sprawl is gobbling up everything.
Yeah, that means that this is just old hat to them by now. They know what they're doing.
Norcross is seen as a wage slave city, and there's no reason to go there unless you have biz with a corp. Makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Finally, we'll get to everybody's favorite district in the Atlanta sprawl, Southtown.
Woo!
Crossing beneath I-20 is like passing between night and day. To the north of the interstate is Atlanta's prosperous downtown district, and south of I-20 is Southtown, the blight of the Atlanta sprawl, filled with the poor, the homeless, and the violent criminal. People liken it to a pit out of which rises Atlanta's dark tide of crime. The only area of Southtown that the APF makes any real attempt to patrol is the zoo. The police maintain a tight cordon around the zoo, and they come down heavy on all types of misbehavior. Despite the protection, zoo attendance has dropped every year. The zoo authorities are hoping that their new paranormal collection, which opens in April of 2052, will renew tourist interest. Currently, the zoo has a few paranormal critters including a cockatrice, 3 harpies, and a naga. The zoo is a forerunner in developing handling techniques for these animals and is also one of the leading facilities for observation and study of paranormals.
They do it all in Atlanta, huh?
Wow, I mean that's where it starts. Who knows if it continues to work out? Some of these paranormal critters get pretty dangerous. The most dangerous place in Southtown is the area around the Fulton County Stadium. After sports teams stopped using the large Coliseum in 2024, Georgia Tech turned it into a research project. Researchers covered the Coliseum with an experimental biotech membrane that was supposed to photosynthesize to produce food, turn solar radiation into usable energy, and purify the air it released into the domed interior of the Colosseum. In effect, the Colosseum was an experimental model for enclosed cities of the future. However, before the project could yield results, conflicting business interests and corporate sabotage resulted in a cutoff of funding, which eventually shut down the project. The dome was abandoned for almost 10 years before the homeless began moving in and using the Coliseum for shelter.
Surprised that it took them 10 years.
Right? Increasing numbers of homeless built their own micro society based on primitive principles such as might makes right. The city of Atlanta had no reason to interfere. All it meant to city officials was that 1,000 problem quote unquote homeless were no longer wandering the streets. 10 years later, the people of the dome left in a mass exodus. On September 8th of 2045, they poured out, taking refuge around the Coliseum, building crude shelters in the old parking lots. Media teams who investigated the scene reported that the dome's membrane had gradually deteriorated to where it no longer allowed enough food to be produced for the masses living inside the dome. The former leaders of this dome society had remained inside with their families, taking what food the dome membrane produced.
Please, easy. The Dome Society.
Dome society. Domers, remember? Domers.
Yes, the dome provides.
The dome provides. The rest of the people were reduced to scrounging for food wherever they could find it. This has gradually evolved to a kind of ritual of trial by combat, whereby an outside, quote, domer can earn a position inside the dome. On seemingly random nights, the masses crowd back into the dome to view a kind of gladiatorial battle in which an outside domer tries to dethrone an insider. You guys, we found Thunderdome.
2 domers enter, 1 domer leaves.
It's true. The domers refer to this special battlefield where these fights occur as the killing ground.
Ah, so that's the killing ground.
Mm-hmm. There it is.
I see. I mean, it feels a lot more serious now than the amusement park that youths hang out in.
Right?
Now that we have context.
This society within a society.
The Dome Society, sir.
The dome. Sorry, my dome steak.
All dome stakes will be forgiven once in the dome. Through the dome, we are able to forgive such transgression.
All hail the dome. You know what? It's probably like that too. It's probably very much like a medieval society.
Absolutely.
That's just frightening.
We've had good yield from the dome today. The dome father provides. We have.
You must go outside the dome to spread the word of the dome.
The dome missionaries.
What were you talking about? They're domites.
Oh, the domies.
The dome.
Where are you going, Matthew? I'm just gonna go chill with the domies, man. I'll be back later.
Oh my god. We're just trying to crusade into another dome.
The neighboring dome believes in the false god.
They must be toppled.
For the good of our dome.
For the good of all dome society. Oh god, the rest of the time, the outside domers cluster about the Colosseum, occasionally making forays out into the city for food. These outsiders still take orders from their leaders inside the dome, who have turned the outsiders' struggle to return to the dome into a kind of spiritual quest.
So literally dome missionaries. We have them.
We were right. Come to the dome table and receive your dome quest.
The Knights of the Dome table.
The Knights of the Dome. I'm getting big Atlanta energy vibes here for creating a run in the Atlanta sprawl where you're just dome knights.
That exclusively takes place within the dome.
Yeah, it just takes place within the dome.
That would be pretty good.
By day, the parking lots around the Colosseum are quiet villages of sheet metal and plastic. At night, the residents either crowd into the dome or run mad through their streets of makeshift homes. The APF never goes near the domers because beyond occasional theft, the domers rarely bother the outlying neighborhoods.
But they have been known to sell finely made quilts and furniture. The dome provides!
It's how they interact with the rest of society. Some biotech and cyber implant corps have taken advantage of the domer culture, using the domers as experimental subjects for new implants and cross-breed grafts.
So, like grafting meta appendages onto non-metas?
Perhaps. Or maybe you've always wanted leopard skin.
That's true. I have always wanted leopard skin.
Allow me to graft this onto your skin. Eventually, maybe it'll take hold.
Nothing bad will come from that.
No. The domers clamor for these implant opportunities, hoping that the implant will give them the edge they need to win a spot inside the dome through combat. You guys, this is also turning into the dome of Dr. Moreau.
Oh yeah. 100%.
Like big energy vibes there.
Yeah. He sits in his box and watches over the proceedings of the killing
Mm-hmm.
of the whatever of the blood sports.
Oh, you'll love this. In reality, the majority of these crude surgeries end in useless metal appendages.
Oh,
Savage disfigurements.
that's not good.
Oh, and my favorite, insanity.
Oh, good.
You know, just in case you were wondering. Most domers have at least one implant with animal part grafts, particularly common. Didn't I just call this?
Uh-huh. Oh, we're doing it.
Unfortunately, these grafts also spawn the worst surgery catastrophes because the experimental immunosuppressants that make the grafts work often produce permanent hallucinogenic responses or psychological mutations in the patients.
That just feels like bad publicity, easy. I don't think that's true.
They don't advertise it.
They don't need to. The people that want it, they already know about it.
I guess. Except for corp scientists, outsiders are not welcome in Domer territory. Criminals and others fleeing their past may try to enter Domer society, but the initiation required is said to be mysterious and potentially lethal. Only Domers are allowed to witness the kill ground battles, which the Domers will never speak of to any outsider.
Yeah, what murders? I don't know what you're talking about.
If the rumors are to be believed, the killing ground fights are exotic and deadly. Wow, what a place. And that's just the dome that's down there.
Yeah, that's easily the most interesting part of Atlanta, I'm gonna be honest.
Of Southtown? Yeah, that's easily the most interesting. Besides the violence of arenas such as Domer territory, Southtown also offers all of the known vices. Chip houses have replaced the crack and ice houses of the 20th century. These dens are filled with BTL abusers who come to the houses to chip into their deadly fantasies. Some chip houses run by Sulper Rings also offer prostitution. The house employees are usually paid with a BTL hit. On the streets, youths push BTLs for the Sulpa rings. Gangs often battle over the best street corners for pushing in order to earn more nuyen for their Sulpa ring bosses. The gangs also make rounds to collect extortion money from the neighborhood businesses. At night, gangs roam the hard tops looking for mugging victims. Only a brave few individuals walk the streets of Southtown after sunset. I guess. No matter how bleak the picture of Southtown, nearly 1 million people call the slums home. Some neighborhoods are simply places of poverty where people are trying to survive as decently as possible. Many such Southtowners work either for local businesses or corporations in Douglasville, commuting by public transpo.
Easy, I don't know if you heard us earlier, but the dome provides.
The dome the dome does you have to become a domer through a mysterious and ancient ritual.
Yeah, blood sport.
It's probably blood sport,
It's
not gonna lie.
blood sport. The ancientest of rituals.
It's the most aged of rituals, blood sport. Local businesses range from the plethora of bars and disreputable night spots to discount food marts and stuffer shacks. Paying extortion to the local Sulpa ring has become a normal business expense that most owners simply accept without question.
Don't rock the boat.
That is the Atlanta Sprawl, capital of the Confederated American States. There is a lot happening. The two most interesting things by far were the insurance war and Dome Society.
Bro, the insurance war felt like it was so long ago. I forgot about the insurance war. I can't stop thinking about the dome.
The dome is life.
Yeah, exactly. I just slide right in.
Well, of course, that would be the most interesting, and it's in Southtown where all the crime is. So makes sense. It tracks. Yeah, the insurance war is just like a look at how corporations can abuse contracts.
Yeah.
Like, oh, these guys have all these life insurance policies on these high profile celebrities. Would be a shame if they had to pay them out.
Would be a shame if they all suddenly befell mysterious circumstances. Now,
yeah, that'd just be crazy. But first they start out with blowing up 6 different commercial airlines.
Hey, that was starting small, all right?
When you start killing celebrities, then it escalates.
Yeah, then people care.
They'll never notice what happens in the dome, though.
Nobody knows what happens in the dome, as the dome father wills.
It's weird that it's just a whole nother society inside the sprawl. I'm honestly surprised that there isn't something like that in the Seattle Metroplex.
I think that part of that is because everything is so much more ruinous in the Metroplex, it feels like. There's that, but like the place that you would expect it to take to probably happen would be the Barrens. But the Barrens is like all blown out buildings and just like abandoned property. Like there isn't.
The Barrens has basically become the Wild West.
Yeah, like it doesn't have like the centralized self-sustaining location. That's the thing. That's why the dome provides.
The dome provides.
Yeah, exactly.
So of the overlook of the Atlanta Sprawl, where are you guys gonna place yourselves?
Oh, dude, the dome provides. I know that's we just talked about this.
Are you getting obviously some kind of weird surgery graft?
Yeah, again, panther skin. Leopard skin? Leopard skin. Who doesn't want leopard skin, dude?
Hey, you can finally get that reptile tongue to clean your own eyes.
Dude. Because yeah, because I don't already have one. Yeah, obviously.
Yes, that was we would be leaders of the dome.
Oh, easy, you and your jokes. You and your human jokes.
Human jokes. I like human humor. Yes, it's Very hilarious. Yes. I guess is there anything else that you could think of that would be happening in the dome that we haven't touched on?
Well, I mean, we're not allowed to talk about what happens in the dome to non-domers. I don't.
Oh, that's rule 1. That's right.
Yeah,
Sorry. You don't talk about the dome and dome politics.
There's a lot of things that you guys that you don't know about the dome, but I just
It's an exclusive club called Domer.
yeah, I don't remember you having to violently murder somebody to get in, so not that I did either. I mean, the dome provides.
The dome provides. Yeah, I feel like there's some kind of cannibal cult in there that just
Whoa,
the dome
whoa,
provides.
whoa.
Whoa.
Cannibal. Oh no. You make it sound like they don't want to be eaten.
They are in the dome.
They're providing sustenance to the dome. Not that we eat people in the dome. But if we did.
Mm-hmm. So this is all, a lot of this is coming from reference from like the 2050s, right? And in the current Shadowrun timeline, we're all the way up to 2080. So what happens in 30 more years? Does the entire bio sheet that was pulled over the dome completely evaporate?
Well, as we know, Easy, the dome provides. So nothing bad is going to happen per se. However, if there is a neighboring dome that is easily within, conquering distance, then maybe we go see what's going on over there.
I don't think they've brought forth another dome to be conquered.
Depending on how you look at it, anywhere is just a dome to be conquered easy.
Time to march on that Free Park Capitol building area.
Hey, does it have a domed roof?
I mean, it has Stone Mountain, which is a large mountain. If you're inside the mountain, that's a large dome.
Just saying.
Just chisel your way into the mountain. Delve deep and greedily.
Yes, into the stone mountain.
Well, that's all I have for you guys for Atlanta. Do you have any questions, comments that are raised by a look into this sprawl that's over in the Confederated American States?
Everything kind of makes sense. For the most part, it still just kind of tracks. The insurance wars are nuts, but outside of that, like, I still think it makes sense why Atlanta would be the capital of the cause.
Yeah, and that it's not even the city of Atlanta anymore. It's now just the Atlanta sprawl, and it's spread out so much. I feel like that's one of the things that gets away from us is how large the sprawl is. It's basically taken over the entire state of Georgia.
Yeah, that is impressive. I mean, but and the fact that it's all still majoritively self-regulated by their actual elected governing body, and then corpo stuff is corpo stuff, but that's pretty much the same
wherever you go,
regardless of where you are. So that makes sense.
Yeah, it is weird that they don't use Lone Star, right?
I mean, it is, but at the same time, it makes sense because if you're going to give corporate carte blanche to any major corporate, any megacorp that's basing their headquarters out of Atlanta anyway, the last thing that you want is then to have that followed up by a police force that is also in and of itself a corporation.
That's true.
Like they already have issues with having to have the internal affairs department as big as it is because of fear of corporate tomfoolery and corruption.
Tomfoolery.
Imagine if it was also Lone Star on top of all of that.
That's true.
All of your regulating, control forces at that point within the entirety of the sprawl are corporation owned. And that's not good. You don't want corporate owned emergency services like that. That's a bad time.
If we've learned anything in the Sixth World. That is true. But hey, it is nice that we're actually getting a look over into these different areas.
Yeah, it's cool. And again, there's a lot of stuff in the Atlanta sprawl in and of itself. That entire area is right for just setting any campaign in. They've got so much stuff going on in that entire area.
There's plenty to do. In fact, foreshadowing. I know, right? For Shadowrunning, I'm good at that. In the Threats 2 book, there is another shadow organization that we may be talking about in a future podcast that has the unifying goal of bringing back the United States of America.
Is it just the evil is it the evil the evil mysterious forces faction from the Purge movies? Is that what it is? Is it just is it the new founding fathers?
It's not. They're actually wow. They are called
George Washington
watching orcs.
Orc Washington.
Orc Washingtons. No, let me find them here. Give me a second. I think it would be easy to find secret societies, you know. Jeez.
Yeah, why can't you find more readily available information about this secret society? Jeez.
What's wrong with you?
What are you even doing over there, man? Gosh.
So the section is called One Nation Under God, but they're called the New Revolution.
The New Revolution. Okay. That's not bad. That's not bad.
He thought it was going to be worse.
I mean, you know, I gotta give him this, to be honest, when it comes to, you know, shadowy organizations and things afoot. The Shadowrun's pretty on the nose with its naming conventions a lot of the time.
They really are. And then speaking of that, I think that'll bring us to this episode's question. What would you call your clan house inside the dome?
Oh,
Because you know they're separated that way. It's definitely Game of Thrones all up in the dome. House Yeehaw, formerly of the Texas area.
so I looked up synonyms for dome because I was interested in what could possibly come up. My faction would be known as the Bulge Battlers.
That's fantastic.
The Bulge welcomes only those willing to slap meat.
Jesus. Well, yeah, I mean, so we've got the Bulge, the Yeehaws. I guess mine. I would go with the Altered.
Ooh, okay, and only welcome the people that have given into the cosmetic surgery options.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah.
You can only be here if you've gone under the knife. We only supply the best for the killing grounds.
I like to imagine that the banner would be like a skull with like a medical mask on it and two scalpels crossed behind the skull.
Yes, thank you. I'm totally using that. That is their house flag right there. Coat of arms. Boom.
Tyler's would be a Nova possum skull with a cowboy hat on it.
Oh yeah, that is very yeehaw. That is very yeehaw. And Bulgers, what do you got?
It would be a studded cod piece in the middle of a flag.
That's it.
Yep. Oh, so no, so like it would be like a flag that would be like a red flag with like a brown leather studded cod piece just in the middle of the flag. That would be our house banner, the Bulge Battlers. Yep.
For mine, I'd have to go with a white flag, right? With almost stealing maybe instead of the scalpels, you use the Hermes medical with like the twined snakes.
Yeah, the rod
Behind
with
the
the snakes.
Yes, behind the skull with the surgical mask.
I mean, you could just do like one singular one and then put the skull in the middle of it, like a
Oh yeah,
like
yeah.
a appetite of destruction situation.
There we go. See, that's your homework, listener. Come up with what your domer clan,
Your Dome Society faction would be.
with your coat of arms, and be sure to come and let us know, because this is what we're interested in. This is why we do this podcast. Well, guys, thank you for hanging out and doing this with me as always, and thank you, listeners, for tuning in once again for some more juicy lore. But that's all we have to give for you this evening. As always, you guys, we will catch you in the next one.
The Topps Company Inc. has sole ownership of the names, logo, artwork, marks, photographs, sound, audio, video, and or any proprietary materials used in connection with the game Shadowrun. The Topps Company Inc. has granted permission to Critical Hits to use such names, logos, artwork, photographs, sound, audio, video, and or any proprietary materials for promotional and informational purposes on its website, but does not endorse and is not affiliated with Critical Hits in any official capacity whatsoever.